You would like to apply the case study research methodology to your next academic paper or thesis? Then you should stop everything else right away, because in this video you will get a super fast and effective beginner's tutorial on how to conduct a case study. In only 6 easy to follow steps, you will learn all the basics of case study research and how to get started. And now, without further ado, welcome to Shribe. So what's the case study research methodology? Case study research is often used in the social sciences. It investigates a current phenomenon that can be observed in our world. This phenomenon is always anchored in a specific context, which must be taken into account throughout the entire case study. A possible context can be an organization, a country, or even a single person. The case needs to provide the context in which the phenomenon under investigation can be observed. In a case study, the researcher has no influence on the events, as opposed to, for example, in an experiment in a lab. Rather, data is collected in the field or from third parties about that particular case to analyze the phenomenon and to arrive at a theoretical and/or practical contribution. Both qualitative approaches, such as analyzing interviews with grounded theory, and quantitative methods, such as analyzing a survey with statistical tests, can be used in data collection and analysis. The special feature of a case study is that the research focuses only on one specific case. Comparative or multiple case studies are special forms of case study research that relate and contrast several cases to each other. A case study always answers a specific research question, which is best started with the word how, or in some cases also with why. So who should be doing case study research? As mentioned earlier, a case study is a methodology that is popular in the social sciences. These sciences include economics, psychology, political science, and so on. Natural sciences and humanities do not fall under this category. However, as interdisciplinary research and teaching are almost everywhere nowadays, it is not impossible that case studies can also be used here. Case studies are therefore a quite common and widely used methodology. Critics claim that case studies are too soft. This means that they have little explanatory power due to their descriptive research design. This can be countered by collecting unique data and analyzing it empirically, resulting in a harder case study. Moreover, critics would claim that a lack of generalizability is a limitation of case studies. This is true, but only for statistical generalization. Other forms of generalization are possible with case studies, but are often not considered. Differences exist here both between different disciplines and cultural backgrounds. For example, case studies in European management literature must be quite hard. In the United States, on the other hand, case studies can also be quite soft and rely on the storytelling and interpretive abilities of the authors. Especially for a dissertation, a case study is a great option. Depending on your data collection possibilities and methodological training, a dissertation can move freely on the spectrum from soft to hard. Now that you have all the background info, let's move on to the 6 steps you can follow to write your own case study. I mainly rely on the work of Robert K. Yin and the 2014 version of his book Case Study Research, Design and Methods. You can find the book linked below the video and in any well-organized uni library. Whenever you write a case study in academia, you should refer to at least one source in your methods chapter that has established generally accepted rules for the overall research process. In Yin's book, you will also find an overview of the most important references for each research discipline. Step 1. Planning your case study. First and foremost, you need to decide that you want to conduct a case study. But that's not enough. You should carefully consider why a case study is preferable to other methods. Why is a literature review, a survey, or an experiment not suitable? What are the advantages of a case study in your situation? And is a case study even possible with your resources? You should have an answer to these questions and discuss them with your supervisor. Planning also includes formulating a research question. To conduct a case study, you need a relevant question. Start it with how and proceed slowly. There are two possibilities. First, you can choose a case-specific research question. For example, how does Volkswagen respond to hate speech on Twitter in the wake of the Dieselgate scandal? Or you can do a more generic research question. For example, how do large companies respond to hate speech on social media? Both approaches are possible and have their advantages and downsides. The research question should always be discussed with your supervisor. Step 2. Setting up the research design. The crucial questions here are: which method or methods can be used to answer my question? And what data do I need for that? In the example, I could proceed as follows. I construct my case study backwards. I could answer my research question by identifying various strategies in the Twitter replies of the VW group. I could do this by collecting a dataset of relevant tweets, for example, using the hashtag Dieselgate, and applying qualitative content analysis. Can I also answer my research question differently? Sure. In theory, I could also interview VW employees and have them answer a lot of my questions. Which approach you choose also depends on the possibilities you have to obtain data. Step 3. Preparing for data collection. Just follow these 3 steps. First, create a literature review. Before you do any research, you have to read. Conduct a thorough review that reflects the current state of research. And if you're a bit more advanced, then ask yourself, is there a theory that can explain the phenomenon that happened in the context of my case study? In this case, you can establish a theoretical background. You do this by focusing on one theory that helps you to understand the phenomenon under investigation. You then discuss your results in relation to this theory. Second, identify data sources. Where do you get your data from? Which interview partners do you need? Which social media platforms? Which company data? And which archive reports? And third, contact the right people. All you have to do is to get access to data. Write to interview partners, call archive owners, and so on. Create a huge spreadsheet with all your data sources for better overview and keep a diary of your progress. And follow up if you don't get replies. Who have you already contacted? Who responded positively? And were there any rejections? This way you can meet your desired timeline and optimize your project management. Step 4. Data collection. The 4th step, according to Yin, is the actual data collection. Again, this can look completely different depending on your research design. If you conduct interviews, just apply the method as you would normally do. Remember that a case study is a methodology and not a method. This means that you are flexible in the methods you choose. At this point, the literature review should be completed and already written up. Before we get to step number 5, please consider to give this video a like and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more of this type of content. It will help me out a lot. Step 5. Data analysis. The most work when conducting a case study awaits you in the analysis. In so-called hard case studies, of course, a little more than in soft ones. When analyzing your data, follow a few guiding questions. How can my data be described? Do the data have special characteristics? And what patterns can be identified here? Collect your results digitally and make enough backups. Nothing is more annoying than losing days of work. Use software wherever possible. because you are not the first person to conduct such an analysis. Smart software solutions make pretty much every research method easier. Step 6. Interpreting the results. Finally, you filter the important results from the unimportant ones and present them from general to specific in the findings section of your manuscript. These 3 elements are essential for an outstanding case study. You need nice figures, for example, flow charts, bar charts, or pie charts. Nice tables, for example, with absolute or relative values of your analysis, results of statistical calculations such as frequencies or correlations, or you can also present the new concepts that you have come up with in tables. And also explanatory text in between the visual elements that shows the reader which of the results are particularly noteworthy. In another chapter, you then discuss the results in relation to your specific case and more general conclusions or implications. And if you use a theory, of course, also in relation to previous work about that theory. Note that the results of a case study are not generalizable in a statistical sense. However, other generalizations are possible if your reader is willing to make some judgment calls. For example, this means that you should not draw conclusions about all other car manufacturers apart from VW. However, you can advise the reader to transfer the findings onto another case if they are willing to accept that this case is similar enough to VW. Moreover, case studies are great if researchers want to develop new theory. This is why case studies are often combined with techniques from grounded theory.